I'm Tom Baker, this is Chasing Cars, and this is just about the most traditional Audi that you can buy in Australia. The A6 all-road wagon. It's not meant to be sporty, it's not an S or an RS car. Instead, this is a laid-back, luxurious family car for people that really just don't want an SUV. And I personally count myself among that set, so this car really is a bit of me. So what is this? It's an A6 wagon. You can't get that in Australia anymore apart from the Go Superfast RS6. It does have a little bit of a lift, but it's on air suspension. So when you're on the highway, it's really low. I've got it raised into all road setting here so you can see how high it can get. And under the bonnet, there's a V6 diesel, another very traditional, non-sporty powertrain. It's laid back, it's torquey, and it's fuel efficient. So, what's not to like? The good stuff continues inside the new A6 All-Road as well, where the interior is Audi's brand new design and everything feels really high quality. When I say traditional, obviously, you know, Audi, you think of the Audi Quattro and cars like that back in the day. Obviously, a large station wagon isn't really traditional in that sense. I mean traditional in the sense that this is a very European luxury car kind of idea. A big station wagon, yes, it has a bit of cladding and an all-wheel drive system, but it isn't an SUV, nor does it sort of claim to be one, and I like that. Inside, the cabin is very passenger car. You don't actually sit that high. The driving position isn't particularly high. It feels like a classical wagon. We have a very nice interior. So we have Audi's new interior design, new technology concept with stacked touchscreens here. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. I'm personally warming to it, although I do occasionally miss the rotary dial that used to sit between the seats. But we also have a big virtual cockpit that looks great and shows you a full map among other internet connected data right there in front of you. Now this particular car, which is Gavial green outside, gorgeous color, is matched to chocolate brown leather, and you can really kind of go crazy if you want on the specification of an Audi like this, because not only is the regular palette pretty decent in terms of the amount of colors you can choose from, you also have Audi exclusive, which isn't that expensive and lets you choose pretty much any exterior and interior color you like. The seats themselves are really supportive, comfortable. I did a road trip down to Canberra in this thing and I arrived feeling very refreshed. They're only heated. I think ventilation and massage on top of that would be really great, but you know, there's just slim pickings for negatives, aren't they? And in terms of practicality, it's okay. This is a big car, so odds and ends storage I would actually expect to be a bit better. There's only two small cup holders between the seats, a really shallow box here where you find the wireless smartphone charging, and there are fairly small door bins. So in terms of places to put stuff, there's not a huge amount of options here up front, but good thing the material quality is nice. Creamy leather on the wheel and on the shifter. And on the doors, it's okay. It's not full leather. You can option that if you want to. Really, I think at six figures, that should be standard, but there you go. Let's check out the back seat. Now these back doors open nice and wide. And if you've got baby seats, they're going to be really easy to fit because the ISOFIX points are exposed here. And because the A6 All-Road doesn't sit too low, you won't have to bend over too much to fit them, which is good. But space in the back is very generous even for adults. I'm 6 foot. Headroom is totally fine, despite the fact we have a dual pane sunroof. Legroom's great, and tow room is all right too. But you will notice the massive transmission tunnel here, which means that the fifth seat is very difficult to use regularly, so it's kind of like a big four-seater, this car. But we have lots of nice amenities. Air vents, 2 more USB ports and a 12-volt socket. Blinds in the doors, so you don't have to fit awful aftermarket ones, and a flip-down armrest here with 2 cup holders and also some flock-lined soft storage too. So all in all, it's a pretty comfy place to spend time, and that bench is angled up and is fairly supportive as well. So I do think you could sit in the back of this for a few hours and be quite comfortable. Now the A6 All-Road, based on the A6 Avant wagon, is a large estate car, and that means it has a generously large boot as well. Power tailgate is standard, and it opens to reveal a really considerable amount of space here and a really well thought out boot. First of all, it's a flat floor here, so you can just slide things straight in and out. We do have a bit of chrome garnish to protect your paintwork. We have a netted area off to the side, remote releases to drop those back seats down flat, shopping bag hooks, adjustable tie down points, and beneath the floor here we also have a space saver spare, so you have some decent peace of mind if you're going to take the A6 all-road country touring, which for me is kind of the point of a vehicle like this. It's right at home in the countryside, as we'll find out shortly. But I also want to point out the absence of any black pack or anything like that on this car. Audi knows that the small amount of buyers there are for the A6 all-road are after a traditional luxury car. So there's heaps of bright work, nice chrome, a selection of these subtle traditional colors like this green, and well, that just goes straight to my taste. So the A6 all-road has started on a high. Let's see if the experience pans out behind the wheel. So what's the Audi A6 all-road like from behind the wheel? Well, in a lot of ways, it's just like Audi's other A6 models. So it's sophisticated, it's refined, it's luxurious, and it's comfortable. But there are elements to the way the A6 all-road proceeds down the road that you can't get in any other Audi A6. And part of that is the diesel engine. This is now the only diesel A6 that you can get here in Australia, which is kind of amazing given that, you know, 10 years ago, diesel was a huge part of the range of the Audi A6, the Mercedes E-Class, the BMW 5 Series. But the development of petrol engines has meant that most people that want the sedan versions will choose a 2-litre or a 3-litre petrol, and of course the RS6 is a 4-litre petrol V8. But Audi knows that there is this little slice of the market that still want more or less a traditional wagon. Yes, the all-road does wear some cladding, but that's about it. In every other sense, it is a station wagon. And they know that this slice of the market still sees the value in a refined 6-cylinder diesel engine. And so that's what we've got here in the A6 all-road, which is a 45 TDI engine, as Audi calls it. So that's a low-power 6-cylinder diesel, producing 183 kilowatts of power and 600 Newton meters of torque. So it's not low power in any traditional sense of that phrase, but Audi do sell 6-cylinder diesels in 50 TDI and then also in Audi Sport form as well. So this one is really quite understressed. The 3-litre unit only has one turbo, and so you just get this sense of it being a really, really laid-back powertrain. There's heaps of torque when you want it, and unusually for a turbo diesel, it's actually quite happy to rev, but most of the time you just sit back and enjoy the, you know, really relaxed sensation of torque and muscularity from the A6 all-road. Now, if we listen, we can hear that it's a diesel, but because it's got 6 cylinders, it's pretty refined as far as diesels go, and the noise that it makes certainly isn't trucky or annoying. And the big payoff, unsurprisingly, is fuel economy, which is really great. So on a highway run, you'll easily be able to get about 6.5 litres per 100 kilometres out of the A6 all-road, despite the fact this is a big full-size car. And even around town, you'll struggle to get that figure above 10 litres per 100. And of course, if you go for a 6-cylinder petrol with this car in the sedan version, then those are figures that you won't really be able to match. So for some people, especially people that do long distances in the country, a diesel can still make sense, and this is the Audi passenger car for them. This is also the only Audi passenger car where you can get a 6-cylinder diesel without having to step up to an SUV. So of course you can get Q5s and Q7s and Q8s with V6 diesels, but you can't get an A4 or an A5 or an A6 with a diesel. You can get an A8, but that's a limo and not really on the radar of most people that are looking for a car to drive privately, apart from a very, very select few. In terms of ride and handling as well, the A6 all-road is pretty impressive. It's, you know, car-like much more so than an SUV because it is a car. It sits lower to the ground, meaning it has better agility. It's not having to shift so much mass, pivoting across a center of gravity that's quite high. Instead, it's nice and low, and so that means that when you show the A6 all-road a country road, it's quite happy to play ball. That being said, if I was going to order this car myself, I would definitely stick with the standard 20-inch wheels. This car is wearing the optional 21s that come with the Premium Plus package, and that's an attractive package, but the wheels introduce quite a bit of harshness to the ride, And the main environment that I find that hinders you is actually in the country. When you are trying to press on a bit and enjoy the A6 All-Road's pleasant dynamics, they just tend to lump and thump through bumps in a bit of an unbecoming and unluxurious manner. So stick with the 20s, you'll have a better urban ride quality, and it will actually make lighter work of country roads too. While you're doing all that, you'll be benefiting from heaps of safety tech. So this car has a lot of tech. So we've got AEB, high-speed AEB, of course, with pedestrian and cyclist detection. We've got lane keep assist. We have blind spot monitoring, front and rear cross traffic alert, a 360-degree camera. So you really feel like it's a high technology vehicle. So those are my detailed opinions of the new Audi A6 Allroad. This wagon isn't for everybody, Audi knows that, and that's fine. They have the Q5 and the Q7 for people that want an SUV of about this shape and size. For me though, the traditional wagon still has so many benefits. That car-like handling, the really great efficiency from the V6 diesel, and this is the last Audi passenger car that you can get a V6 diesel in without having to go to an SUV. And of course, the beautiful, beautiful looks of this car. Design's subjective, but I reckon this one is particularly easy on the eye. You can let me know what you think about the A6 Allroad down below this video. Would you consider a wagon? Does the cladding help to give it that little bit of crossover-ish image and keep it relevant? Let me know your thoughts. While you're there, make sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell. And as always, thanks for watching Chasing Cars.